Hello, everybody. It's a happy Friday afternoon, and the Big Ten has suspended Jim Harbaugh for the rest of the 2023 season on a Friday afternoon before they play their biggest game of the season at, I think it's number 10, Penn State in Happy Valley. And earlier today, there was kind of like rumors that the Big Ten was going to do something. And then there was a statement thing from Michigan that said Jim Harbaugh is getting on that plane one way or another. One way or another. And it's all just okay. Let me read you something. The Big Ten statement to Michigan says that he has been suspended, that the university violated the sportsmanship policy. The conference imposes on the university the following disciplinary action. Effective immediately, the university football team must compete without its head football coach. 4 games remaining in the 2023 regular season. This disciplinary action shall not preclude the university or its football team from having its head football coach attend practices or other football team activities other than the game activities to which it applies. So he can't, it looks like he can go to practice and coach, and he can do, I don't know, serve cake to him, but he can't actually be on the sidelines during a game. I don't know how they come up with this stuff. Honestly, I think this is stupid. I think it's really just dumb of the Big Ten to do something in the middle of the season. I think everything we know about Michigan, it looks like they built this biggest spy network ever in college football terms, and that would be cheating from everything I know. And I know that the Michigan fan base has become the most delusional fan base in all of college football. And it's been hilarious fun to watch them go into complete meltdown mode. But my specific problem with doing this in season is that they're going into Happy Valley tomorrow to play a football game against Penn State. And Penn State's pretty good. And if they lose, it'll just be a big asterisk for Michigan. And that's a problem for me. I mean, I think you don't need to do anything for them to give them any favors. And I think this actually does them more of a favor in the long term than it does hurt them. So they won't have their head coach on the sidelines. And, again, they have the biggest game of the season, the game against Ohio State coming up in a couple weeks. And if he can't be on the sideline for that, I think it diminishes that game. There's a lot of time for them to go and gather all their evidence and get all their stuff together and then go through a process of proving everything along the way and coming up with whatever Michigan did to violate the rules. And I'm pretty sure we're in the position, unless you're a Michigan fan, that yes, they have violated rules. And do something that will, quite frankly, be more long-term or be fitting to the crime, like taking away 30 scholarships or banning them from postseason play for 3 years after this. Things like that, after you have determined through a due process that they deserve this. And right now, the problem with this is this. I'm not a lawyer. I'm an IT guy. And one of the reasons I'm doing this video is because I'm exhausted from IT work all week. I'm old and it's so exhausting with the brain problems I have. But to understand, I think, all of this, you need to be a lawyer. And you can go on Twitter and be a lawyer really easily. Everybody is. But I think from what I understand, my ignorant, non-lawyer-esque guy that I am, if they don't have their poop together, Jim Harbaugh can sue them for, I think it's called irreparable harm. That guy makes shit tons of money. And they already suspended him. If he can file a lawsuit against them for irreparable harm and prove that they damaged his reputation, well, he's going to garner crap tons of money from the Big Ten for a settlement, money that could go to the University of Nebraska or your school, whoever it might be, as long as you're in the Big Ten, of course. I'm going to switch over this statement to the University of Michigan responding to the Big Ten's suspension of Jim Harbaugh. Well, guess what today is? Today is Veterans Day. And because it's Veterans Day, the courts are closed. They're on a holiday. So the University of Michigan, as it's kind of says down here at the bottom here, they doing so on Veterans Day, court holiday, to try to thwart the university. The word thwart is always beautiful. Thwart the University of Michigan from seeking immediate judicial relief is hardly a profile in impartiality. To ensure fairness in the process, we intend to seek a court order, together with Coach Harbaugh, preventing this disciplinary action from taking effect. So the Big Ten, suspends Harbaugh, and they do it on a day where you can't file an injunction, apparently. So they can't just, come out. Michigan can't come out and say, no, you can't do that, with a judge saying, no, you can't do that. So he can get on the plane, but not be on the sideline, or be on the sideline because he gets the injunction. And then you have Michigan, Michigan up here. Like all members of the Big Ten Conference, we are entitled to a fair, deliberate, and thoughtful due process, to determine the full set of facts before a judgment is rendered. It's, again, there's two problems with this very specifically. I mentioned the thing about Michigan having an asterisk. And I'd rather that Michigan didn't have that asterisk. I'd rather everybody else have that asterisk. Like if Michigan were to win the next two games against, let's say, Penn State and Ohio State, their biggest games of the season, go on to the Big Ten title game, we would all be able to make fun of the Michigan fans for the rest of our life when they brought up 2023, just like we do when they bring up 1997. And that team that didn't deserve to have part of the national title, it belonged to Alden, Nebraska. We all know this, right? I'd rather that we were able to just make fun of Michigan for this. I don't want them suspending their coach and giving them an excuse for their losses. And the other problem with this is, what I can see from this is, we're all going to enjoy this. I mean, think of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Do we all enjoy that with a certain sense of, perversity, honestly? I mean, the whole poop in the bed thing, it was terrible for both of those people. Johnny Depp probably came out looking a little better, but having all of your secrets exposed and having all your dirty laundry out in the open, it's not going to be good for the Big Ten Conference, and it's not going to be good for Michigan, because quite frankly, we're probably all going to be laughing at Michigan and the Big Ten. And if Michigan loses the games, they'll have an out. They'll have an excuse for all of this, and I don't like that part of this. And of course, you see the Michigan fans all over the internet now, in message boards and Twitter, everywhere. They want to leave the Big Ten Conference and go to the ACC or the SEC, who clearly probably doesn't want them at all, because I don't know why Michigan thinks the SEC would like them. They'd go to the ACC and they'd give up the game, which is the biggest rivalry in all of college football. You could argue about that, but it is. Ohio State, Michigan, especially this season, it was setting up to be the giantest hate match in all of college football, possibly history, if you look at it. And I'm trying to be unbiased about that. But I think now it's a little diminished, maybe, if this sticks. I hope that Jim Harbaugh is successful in getting his injunction, or whatever the hell it is, to get him back on the sideline. And then come what may, Michigan, Ohio State playing. Let the victor prevail. And then later on, after you've gathered all of your evidence and after you've gathered everything, then you can go through the process of punishing Michigan if that's what you feel you need to do. So that's my position on Michigan. I think all the Michigan fans have gone crazy, but I don't know if they're any different than any other college fan base. We're all pretty delusional when it comes to our own teams. And that in itself makes college football the most wonderfully stupid thing in all of sports. And it's great. And I just wish, for the sake of the Big Ten and the sake of University of Michigan, who I have a lot of respect for, and it's kind of been diminished by this, but I still have some. I hope for their sake this doesn't get too messy and too bloody. I'm John Johnson, CornNation. Please subscribe to my channel. Get a t-shirt, support us, run the frickin' ball, run the fucking ball. There you go. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. I hope you're having a happy Friday. Go Big Red.